Look at that. We're live on the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the wonderful world of video games, video game culture, and all the cool stuff in between. I have to start us off with the wonderful theme music by our good friend Zero. Let's start it off. Yeah. But I always wait till after I do the introduction. I'm Dolly Domofsky. Joining me as usual is Sam, making a wonderful return appearance. Veerender, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. What about yourselves?
Oh, I am slowly recovering from the. I was gonna say the PAX pox, but it's the SGF plague this year. Hope you're doing. It was so great to see you and hang with you last weekend. It was a fantastic time.
No, of course. No, I was glad Unwinnable let me represent them this year, and
yeah,
I only told like 5 people that I was coming. You were one of them, and yeah, everybody else was like graciously surprised. So it was
so cool. Yeah, it's like you were. You as always light up the area and kind of command a good conversation whenever we're hanging out. So it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, very cool to see you. Sam, it was great to hang with you at your first Summer Game Fest down there.
Yes, yeah. Glad to finally see what all the craze is about. I could tell you, as somebody who only was at one E3, man, it's way better. They put on a pretty solid show down there at Summer Games Fest, and it doesn't feel like a over-sponsored carnival, and actually feels like a sponsored professional event. So love that.
It was great. I mean, we had the showcases, then we had the on-site stuff. We got to see a lot of games. We got to see a lot of products. Got to talk to a lot of developers. Got to see a lot of our good friends in the industry. It was a good time, and we had some really good ice cream. Actually, I appreciated Veerender was great because like that last day, we're all in line, and he's like, "I'll do it if I let me just do it because it'll be faster if we do it all at once." And we were all next in line though, and I think that was the really funny part because we could have really just ordered separately, but he's like, "No, guys. I got this." It was awesome. He's like, "I got this." Treated all of us to ice cream, but dang, that was good ice cream. I gotta say, that was really enjoyable.
I was surprised how good the banana one was.
Yeah,
yeah. And the toffee crunch, I know a lot of people like that one as well.
Oh yeah, I think that was the crowd favorite.
Yeah. I had the toffee the first day, and then I had, was it the raspberry one or whatever it was?
The bloodberry or whatever they were calling it.
Strawberry, and there's a mixed berry as well.
The mixed berry, yeah. So it was a good time, real good time. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. We have I think we're just going to focus on all the games that we've been playing, and or I should say all the games that we played, or a bunch of the games that we played. So it's definitely something that we think people would have a good time listening to. I know Sam and I have written a few things. Veerender, you've done some stuff, and it's like, now let's get some videos out there to really talk about, you know, what we're seeing, what we've been checking out. Yeah. And there have been embargoes that have lifted this week. There's embargoes lifting, I think, like seems like all the way through to like November from the timing of some of these things.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get through a bunch today and have some good conversations about some of the things that we played. And I want to start with one of the games that I think, at least Veerender, you and I were so hyped about, and we're already ready to do some streaming for this, and that's N+ Infinity x2.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic. So I've never properly played any of the N+ games because of when they were console wise, but this was also a Canadian development team, which I never knew before, and I heard you were tearing it up on your play sessions, and
I was done so well on a game in a demo in my entire life than playing this game.
Yeah,
but essentially it's the N+ series, right? So it's they've done a great job with the series of sort of the ninjas, where you're really trying to get around levels as fast as possible, pick up coins and things. In this case, they made it sort of a multiplayer party game. I think there are 5 modes in the game, but they only had 2 to show us.
Yeah, but they had a lot of levels. I think they had like more than 20 levels.
Yeah. So the 2 modes were sort of like a race mode, where we had to try to get to the goal at the very end, and then there was a team 2v2 sort of hunters and ninjas mode.
Yeah.
So The race mode was really interesting. You're seeing some of the videos here. Yeah, it's like just get to the goal at the end, but obviously there's hazards along the way, but
Yeah.
there's something that happens if you're lucky enough to get to the goal. And
So
that
when
is,
you
yeah.
Yeah, so when you get if you're one of the first or if you're not the last person to get to the goal, then you get to start shooting off a rocket, and it has like tank control sort of thing. So it's really hard to like maneuver as it should be, but then you can take out any of the other people who are still trying to finish the race, and then if they die from that, then they're completely like that's their level just gone.
Yeah, they don't get any points, or they get minimum points
Yeah.
for that level. And it's sort of points based. So yeah, you can obviously the most points you get is to get to the goal, but you can get some extra bonus points here and there if you end up first, or if you get enough of the coins or whatever those are, or if you blow up an enemy. Right? I think that was part of it. It's turned it made it so that even if you weren't the fastest to get to the goal, you still had the ability to kind of stay in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, they gave us a bunch of levels. The level design is wild.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
oh gosh.
Well, it's just crazy that this is a series that has been around since Flash games,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
the first N Plus was a Flash game. Like it's like just remembering some of these levels from over the years, and seeing that they're bringing it into multiplayer. Feels kind of weird that this is a series that is easy to pick up. There's not much controls other than run and jump. But then also like has such a legacy that there are people that have probably played some version of it, which means they know exactly how to play it for the multiplayer, which is nuts to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really kind of felt natural to move around there. It's almost like, we talk about riding a bike, you never forget. And playing this game, it definitely felt like riding a bike. You got right back into the movement, the double jumps off the walls, the speeding, all that kind of stuff. It's great. And then you play the 2v2 mode, which is wild because it's this team-based mode where, well, Veerender, why don't you explain it? I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on this mode.
So it's 2v2, but the way it works is it's hunters and ninjas, if I remember correctly, is what they titled it. So then the ninjas go first, and they have a few second head start to get as many points as they can and or make it to the safe goal. And then just a few seconds after the head start happens and you get to play as the other team is the hunters, and they can also, if they touch any of the ninjas die. And then also you as a hunter can turn into a tank midway through to just like a rocket midway through to just propel yourself. And there's some interesting tactics there that I saw with like just a way to get around and trying to like with invincibility frames or like keep the momentum or movement going. And it is a chaotic mess, but like in the best way. Like it's all very precise as well, so it's
yeah it was really cool because you mentioned the turning into like the missiles. I found out very early on, I figured out that if you're the hunter, turn into that missile and start launching yourself forward, and then quickly turn back into the hunter, and kind of you can bounce back and forth and make your way around. But I think some of the funnest moments are where you're the ninja and you're trying to stay away from the hunters. There was one of the maps where sort of the upper area, you can kind of hang out as a ninja and keep kind of hopping up and down, and the hunters have to make their way up both sides. And if one of the hunters is just slightly off, then you could sneak around and drop back down. And it was a riot watching everybody learn to kind of exploit that. And then at the same time, fall victim to that because you'd fall wrong, because there's fall damage in this too. Gosh, it was so funny watching everybody try different tactics and everybody approach it differently. this is going to be something that we're going to be streaming a lot. We already made like plans. Like, okay, day this comes out. I think 2027 is when this one comes out. It's like day this comes out. We're going to be streaming nonstop. You're going to see it every night. Dolly and Veerender are going to be. We're going to be streaming this game with Sam. You're in. We've already.
We just got to find a fourth. I can't play 2v1. You guys already have practice.
Two controllers. Do two controllers. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah, left and right hand. I got it.
One thing I really liked about it, I was talking to the PR about it, is like I hate Mario Party. Mario Party is just like not my type of game, and like who wants to like go to someone's place or just like hang out for like an hour and a half playing Mario Party when it, that's not always ideal,
Sure.
But being able to play this for even long sessions or even like short sessions is just like perfect, and I definitely had a much better time than the Mario Party games I've played. Yeah,
it's part of this genre of these short session chaotic multiplayer games that I love. They're not simple. They look simple, but they're the farthest from simple because you really have to master the momentum and master the chaotic, master the unexpected in this. Because like I said, you'll be falling and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get away from someone, and all of a sudden you will miss the ledge and you'll die based on fall damage.
Damage.
Oh, it's so good. It was so good. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is great. I'm so glad that I was able to play this. And funny enough, I was running behind. Another appointment was running late, so I was like 3 minutes behind on my appointment for this. So I showed up, and they had already started the match. I didn't want to interrupt them because they were moving so fast. So I watched and I watched and I learned and I watched and I learned. And then when their match was over and the appointment was over, I turned to the PR rep. I'm like, hey, listen, I was here for my 3:30. You guys were deep in it. I didn't want to interrupt. Can we reschedule? And they said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Can you come back at when are you free again? I said, 4:30. I said, okay, come back at 4:30. Well, I had the knowledge built up. So that's why I was able to. I didn't play in a weird way. It's like watching somebody stream it on YouTube. But man, it's so good. I'm so excited for this one. This is really great game. Yeah. Kudos to the developers for putting that out. So that's N+ Infinity times 2.
Yeah.
Now, Sam and I played a role-playing game, multiplayer game that was just around the corner from N+ Infinity times 2, also in the Day of the Devs area, and also taking a sort of classic approach to something, and that was Super Yooka-Laylee Kart. Now, did you get a chance to play this, Veerender?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both of you had way better, probably way better than me because I sucked at this game.
No, I was horrible. I was
all right, good.
As well as you and I.
Sam, talk a little bit about the game, and I'll explain why I was so bad at this.
Sure. So, Super Yooka-Laylee Kart is, taking a stab at both the look and the feel of some of your classic kart racers, more specifically, and I think they're pretty upfront about it. Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. And they are trying to take that and then both modernize it with some of the more modern drift mechanics that you might find in these kart racers, and obviously with the Yooka-Laylee gang. I think we saw a limited number of characters, be more characters coming. But yeah, they have a pretty solid foundation. There are people there that worked on Diddy Kong Racing. So they know kart racing. There are people that argue that is the better N64 kart racer. And here they have a very competent racer in Yooka-Laylee Kart. They are able to both make the drifting feel rewarding and get you advantages while also making it a requirement to be towards the front of the pack. While also giving you character options to negate that sort of thing. Dally found himself on the wrong end of that selection, choosing Vendi, who is a very slow character, but can really get cooking, and when they're drifting correctly, is way faster than anybody else. And I played the Bat, whose name is either Yuka or Laylee.
It's Laylee.
I forget which one. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I played the main game. Was good at tight drifts and stuff like that, but wasn't very fast. So you had to do that drifting to kind of keep your momentum going. But then if you got knocked out, you could get going pretty quick. On top of that, of course, there's the familiar karting items of being able to track your opponents, lay landmines. They have an interesting system where basically every single item has 3 different options. There's launching it in front of you, launching it neutrally, and then launching it behind you. And something like I believe it was like a cannonball could be launched in front of you or placed in the middle of the track or launched behind you. It's kind of like the basics. And then every item just kind of builds on that. And then I think maybe the standout feature to me is the ability to set up custom races. Like the ones that they kind of had on the show, or at least the ones that we played, were ones that like forced us all to be one character, made us invisible, and then gave you a super boost for drifting. So like as long as you were drifting, you were just gaining speed like nonstop. And I don't know if this is planned for the final thing, but those races came up towards the end of our, like, if you want to call it season while racing. So it seems like you can sort of schedule when you want to play those custom maps. So let's say you're used to playing at your friend Kyle's house and all he wants to play is no items, super serious, like drifting is all that matters.
Kyle!
You go over to Steve's house and Steve is not as serious. He loves to play with all the items. But then you can, if everybody's playing together sometime, you can come up with a sort of a season of a tournament that allows you to build like that singular race into that. So then you don't have to worry about feeling like, oh, we have to do an entire 4 races locked into this certain mode or locked into this certain feature set to like, experience it, to like make it fair or whatever. But it seems like they are on board with basically how much you want to play it. 8-player split screen, which was going to be a little nuts. We'll see if that translates into a good experience for people. But yeah, I mean, they are going full bore with the multiplayer suite of making sure that people can play this and enjoy it how they want to enjoy it. My only kind of hang up with it, and we actually didn't get to experience it at Summer Game Fest, is they were talking about a rage mechanic. So in kart racers, it is frequent that you get knocked out numerous times. You might be going from first all the way to 12th in the matter of a corner just because a bunch of people have loaded you with weapons and stuff. And so they have this rage mechanic where if you get hit a certain number of times in quick succession, it essentially allows you to use one of these overpowered items to put you towards the front of the pack or to tighten the pack up to make it more competitive. Obviously, with the custom rule sets, you can turn that stuff off. But that, I think, is really going to be the hang up for people of, it's basically a self-controlled blue shell for somebody who's used to Mario Kart. So, what's to say that the meta for real serious players isn't somehow that you maximize the use of that rage meter to essentially not race the whole time until like the last 100 yards to force everybody to use that rage item. So it's going to be balance issues when you get
They're
to it.
trying to figure it out still, they said.
Yeah,
so that's why we didn't have it in our...
Correct. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing of like, it'll be one of those things like, is it a default feature of the rule set? Or is it something that gets turned on as one of these optional things? So we'll have to see. And obviously, again, they are 100% focused on letting people set it up the way that they want to. So it seems like if you want to get rid of it completely and not worry about it, it'll be a non-issue. But if there's going to be a, quote unquote, serious contingent of players for this game, they may find issue with that rage meter on if it's by default.
Yeah, I found myself, like Sam mentioned, I was kind of stuck early on with Vendy, the vending machine. Great idea for a character. And it's a very difficult character if you're not used to, managing weight when you're playing these types of games. And Vendy is a very weight focused character. If you can corner and drift well, then you don't have to keep accelerating. You're launching, you're going fast, and there's no stopping you. So I unfortunately going through the going through the the season, like Sam said, meant that I was kind of stuck with Vendy the whole time through until we got to the extra, the extra matches at the end. But yeah, even that I loved the game because it definitely felt like Diddy Kong Racing, but in that mode 7, like HD 2D mode 7 effect, like the visual style. So a lot of the stuff kind of came back from what what I remember of Mario Kart. And I asked the developer that was there, I said, why did you guys do it like this? And why isn't there a mini map? They said, well, we're probably gonna put a mini map there later on for sure. But we kept it like this because we want people to be able to see all the racers and all the obstacles well enough ahead. A lot of times in kart games, there's a lot of verticality. You're going up and down. You can't really see too far in front of you. You don't have, you don't know where the other, your other racers are. The advantage of sort of this classic Mario Kart, I guess, mode 7 style was that because it was so flat, it created its own meta for understanding where everything was on the track. So I think that was actually a really smart understanding of taking those old limitations and turning them into something that's kind of viable from a race format. So I'm curious to see when they do get a mini map potentially in there, when we do try out more of these courses, and when I try somebody other than Vendy, what that will be like. But
you'll have the rage mode then.
So. I'll have exactly. It was. I kept running into the cannonballs. I don't know who it was that I was playing against, but it seemed like they knew exactly where I was going to turn. They kept hitting the cannonballs in my races. Maybe it was Sam.
Also, one big thing was like there's no deaccelerate, so you can't like go back.
Yes.
You have to hop.
Yeah,
left or right, which was very interesting to me because I've never played, that the older Mario Kart games or even F-Zero because I wasn't born. So then this was my first time playing that sort of thing. But I loved Crash Nitro Kart and I know Digimon Racing also. So much more of the newer ones. But I think it was a very cool idea to even have this sort of mode 7 style because a lot of games when they go the racing route they're like, oh, let's go expansive 3D 1080p, just the most possible. But then they do have a lot of the older rare developers and people who worked on Diddy Kong Racing, like you said. So it's very cool and interesting to see a game like this now, especially with a very established IP with Yooka-Laylee. And I'm looking forward to more of it, especially with how the rage mechanic works. That'll be very interesting.
Totally,
they balance that, especially. And I thought the game was beautiful.
The
flower petals and the sakura blossoms was that was just gorgeous on some of them.
You and I had talked about in the forest level. This is where I kept crashing in the forest level because you're going through this sort of straightaway and you have to turn left. Sorry, my hands are in the camera. You have to cut a really quick left, but the developers placed these. They put the kind of the petals and bushes and trees in the back, and it makes it look like you continue going there.
Yeah,
brothers, you can't go. I crashed every time. It's this level right there. I crashed every freaking time in that part, and I would just lose spots as Vendy because then you have to accelerate again. So it wasn't until the final lap that I realized, no, don't. Just slow down and take that corner a little bit better.
Yeah.
That's the learning aspect of these kinds of games. Cool. So that's Super Yooka-Laylee Kart. Did that have a release date? I can't remember if they had a release date.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think this year, but I think that's it.
Okay. On to another racing game in a completely different sort of style, and that's Stuntman Hollywood. And a few of us had some good experiences with Stuntman Hollywood. I'm going to share this screen right now. Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button. So yeah, we played Stuntman Hollywood, and I'm gonna let the both of you take the lead on this one.
Return of a Legend. Stuntman, the PS2 classic, and I believe there was a Game Boy Advance title also. But a return with a partnership featuring Universal properties. As they've shown in the trailer, there is both Knight Rider, Fast and the Furious, Back to the Future, I believe in our demo we saw Aftershock also, and there was also vague confirmation of Jurassic Park, if I remember correctly.
They couldn't really say that, but I think we were, the question we asked was, are we going to get any Jurassic Park in this because it's owned by Universal?
Yeah.
And they said, well, this is all we can show today. So
Sure.
that's a non-confirmation, but I'm going to assume that maybe there'll be something, but who knows?
Yeah. And then also, what is that? Death Race. That they're showing in the trailer there too. But we didn't see that in our demo. Our demo was just Aftershock, Fast and the Furious, and or I guess Fast and Furious, and Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the Stuntman franchise, essentially you are the stuntman for the action film in which they are filming. And you have to perform a scripted number of stunts and perform them to a varying degree of success. And then you are rated and I believe paid out based on how well you have performed those stunts. This also has some room for a little bit of interpretation. There are, let's say, areas that you can perform extra stunts in that allow you to both boost your score and earn extra rewards for performing more stunts than initially tasked in doing so. In the trailers here, we're not really seeing gameplay, but the way that it's set up is there's like a UI element that both gives you your preferred line that the cameraman or the director would like you to stick to. And then also when you get close to some of your stunts, like maybe it's getting close to a vehicle or dodging an intersection that's about to have an accident very quickly, you get a sort of green, orange, and yellow indicator or red indicator of how close you are to it and how perfect you completed the stunt to request. So whether it's jumping off of a ramp and landing in the center, so you miss all of the things around the sort of jump and land area, or if it's drifting into a corner perfectly to land yourself in line with the ramp ahead of you. There's a bunch of different stunts, but none of the levels that we played were overly long. I think maybe played straight through, the longest level was just about 2 minutes. It is mostly just a quick in and out, perform these stunts, do a little bit of bonus action here and there, and then get your rating at the end and try to do better if you didn't quite complete all the challenges. Driving physics-wise, I thought the game felt really good. I think I said in my article that there are plenty of modern day racing games that don't quite have as nice of driving physics as that does. I don't think it's anywhere as realistic as something like an arcade sim racer is, but I certainly don't think it's as bad as a PlayStation 2 adventure game sort of tacked on driving experience that some of these arcade games can feel like. I thought, at least from my time, it was like pretty easy to pick up immediately and like understand like how the cars drifted and the weightiness to them. I'm sure in the final version we're going to get more vehicles. We've at least seen a motorcycle, so there probably will be a difference in how they perform. But it seemed like if you drove the Fast and the Furious car, the Back to the Future car drove pretty similar. But it's still a very solid driving engine. You both drove a little bit. What'd you think?
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. This was my first time playing the franchise. I only played about 10-15 minutes because I was doing very badly. Because like when you're doing badly on the stunts, it'll like make you do the whole entire thing over, the entire level over. So then I got to that point. But no, I really liked what I played of it. I can see why so many people were very hyped when this was announced, especially because of the franchise. I didn't know it was so well known as well, but I think it does a lot of really cool things to show, it's not about like doing the best, but it's about like what would look the best in terms of film wise. And I think that's very interesting for it. I'm looking forward to more of it. And like you said, if there's any collaborations or anything, since it's Universal and what route that went into, but it was just the demo we got a chance to play was just like the standard this vehicle, I think it was the red vehicle as well.
Yeah.
And it was just,
Mhm.
it wasn't even as chaotic as what's being shown on.
Right.
Yeah, it was very.
I think it was Fast and Furious level is what we ended up trying. And then I
so
think,
it was a lot less chaotic on this level. And I think that will definitely propel it better in terms of being able to get like what the more of the experiences, but I like getting a chance to play what they did set up, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
I think what I found interesting, and Sam and I were kind of chatting about this. I don't know if you had heard me, Sam, when I was asking the PR rep or the developer there, but I said, something I'm not noticing is that there are no badges on these vehicles. I'm a car guy, so the very first thing I look is the cars, and they said, well, that's because they have the licenses to the film and TV properties. They don't actually have the licenses to the cars. So you see it's clearly a Toyota Supra there, but it's named Dominic Toretto's car in this. And
I was going to say, I think you mean that's Dominic Toretto.
Exactly. And it's obviously it's a DeLorean, a DMC DeLorean but they call it the time machine. So there are specific things that they can do from the automotive side. But that being said, for me, the vehicles look fantastic. The visual effects looked like a ton of fun. I was screwing up a bunch in a couple areas, which is totally fine because when I play a game like this, I want to hit the perfect point every single time.
Yeah.
So I want to hit the green, but I'm very much a cat in that I will stop and stare at like details on the car and then lose focus completely as to what my task was and have to redo it all over again. But this is the thing you're seeing kind of right now is the main with this reddish orange car that we played the majority of. But I'm really excited for what they could potentially do with this. They haven't announced what the structure is going to be. All they would tell us is that it's sort of episode based. So you're going to have these scenes. They call them episodes. At least they told us they were episodes, but they're essentially like you're going to have this racing scene. Where you're going to launch the time machine and it's going to hit the 88 miles per hour and blah blah. And then you're going to have this other scene that you're going to do with the time machine. You're going to have this other scene. And I asked them, is it are they all going to be all of the movie scenes at once? Is it during this sort of campaign, are you going to play all the Fast and Furious levels at the same, in one point succession, or are you going to be mixing things up and allowing players to bounce around? And their response, they couldn't really give me a response. They said they're still sort of working through a few things, but it wouldn't be video game enough if it was just spitting through one movie at a time, and that's all you get. They want to make sure the players are always expecting the unexpected when they're playing these games. So
it seems like you were less so of like being like you are the universal like driver guy, and like we were putting you into this film. It's like you were a like standalone stuntman who gets hired for these films, and like some of them happen to be like giant universal properties. But it seems like there might be a possibility of picking up like other jobs and stuff. In the like menu that greeted us, there was a section that said odd jobs that was locked. So there might be maybe some other stuff. I mean, I don't know how much Stuntman make, but maybe deliveries or
freelance.
Freelance pizza delivery.
I was going to say maybe there's some Uber side hustles or something like that. But no, it seems
TikTok videos.
It seems like they really want you to kind of grow as like a stuntman. So it seems like you'll get to work on both big projects and little projects, and maybe commercials, maybe music videos or something like that. So
one thing I'm hopeful for, and Sam, you kind of touched on it in your write-up a little bit. When you're driving through this, you do see like camera rigs, and I know part of me believes they're probably just for visual effect to make it look like they're filming, blah blah blah. But I'd love if the different camera rigs that you're going past actually represent cameras in the game, so that you can, so that your whole thing is being recorded from multiple angles. So when you do watch a replay, you could see it as if it's happening in a movie, as the movie is shot. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but gosh, that would be really cool if it was.
Yeah, they unfortunately there weren't replays like available in the demo. So like these are even like the shots that we're looking at here is essentially just gameplay with all the UI elements removed. So like I'm not sure, like, you know, it seems like they are definitely planning to have some form of a replay, but yeah, it's inconclusive whether they will be from those sort of cameras in the like fictional world or not.
Yeah. Each stunt has out of 4 stars, and then it grades you on each specific stunt until you go to the next one. But if you keep messing up and you get if you get way fewer stars than needed, then it'll say you failed the whole thing.
And that was me.
That was me as well.
But that's the fun of a game like this, is that you want to come back and try to do better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if you nail it in the first take, you're not going to be able to hit all the challenges and everything 100% perfect.
And this is a movie, so they could redo the movie the scene anytime they want to. You talk about family. Yeah,
but in real movies, if they got close enough, they're like, "Whew, okay, we saved so much money on resetting that whole scene. So great, we're not doing it again. 5 out of 9 stars is enough."
This is Fast and Furious 5 out of 9 is what it's going to be called. Excellent. Another, I don't want to say movie based, but another sort of a bigger game that was announced. I think this was actually announced last year during the Game Awards, but it's a remake that now we got to really get our hands on, and that's Tomb Raider: Rise of Atlantis. And Legacy of Atlantis. You and I had a chance to check this out, Veerender, and so I'm going to let you hop on the lead for this one.
Okay, so I've been playing the Tomb Raider games since I was very young, and I've known the character Lara Croft very well. Watched the films that Angelina Jolie starred in. One of the things, so I never got a chance to play the rebooted trilogy they did about a little over a decade ago, when they more focused on combat and more about, you know, her turning to, like, you know, this killing machine, killing all these people. I just didn't get a chance to play those games. I do have them. I did play those top down ones, like, what was it called? Guardian of those top down ones, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, what was it called? The Guardian of Light
games,
yeah, I thought those are like really fucking cool. I really loved playing those when I was a kid as well. But one of the things I loved about this game was I was also talking to one of the developers who worked on like the earlier ones, like Anniversary Collection, which I played on the Wii, and Legends as well. Like on the Wii, I really loved playing because like you would have to like use charcoal and rub with the Wiimote and doing all those cool things. One of the things I really liked is that they're going more focusing on big, gigantic, like world-changing puzzle mechanics and aesthetics, and that's a very big departure from the reboot they did a little over a decade ago, and they're going more back to how the Legends stuff was and the Anniversary Collection was, where it's more of a puzzle game. And just like how the technology has been for games, they do some really cool stuff with this demo. It was all about like trying to put gears onto water so you can make this entire contraption move around, and like it was bewildering. Like it was like gorgeous to look at, and like you can see a bit here as well. I'm very glad that they're going this route, puzzle, and going more of it being focused on like puzzle stuff, but that doesn't deter away from the action and combat they did have after the puzzle section, because then you have like a chase scene, dinosaurs are back, of course, and there was a bit of gameplay on the combat stuff where you get to slow down time and accurately shoot in the air against enemies, and I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I thought I was muted for a second there. Yeah. No, yeah, you mentioned like the way the demo was set up was, by the way, kudos to Amazon for setting up the room to have sort of this jungle feel to it, because they had like the fake vines and everything everywhere in the little section there. But it was actually nice and quaint. like cool as well because they had misting water. But you're the demo was essentially the opening section of the game, right? I think somewhere around there. So it had been forever since I've actually been playing Tomb Raider. I did review the remakes recently, and I wanted to bring that up because so for this demo, you're looking around this area for the gears, and you kind of do different things. There's like weights that you have to adjust, and you have to climb up some areas. Of course, there's like colored ledges that we've all grown accustomed to now. Colored ledges, we know which ones to grab onto. But as you're making your way around, you can enter. Well, they had some of the areas blocked off, but you can enter into these little caves and kind of do these secondary little things. But then you finally get all these gears together and you angle them so that they're in the water and they line up. And you can turn this big wheel. Then you face off against, there's like a couple of raptors that come out. Like you mentioned, the dinos, like the raptors come out at you. And that was actually a really fun thing because once you kind of get through those, which is this heated action section, you face off against the T-Rex, like the famous T-Rex from the games and stuff. And there's this chase that happens. And all of a sudden, like that's where my demo ended. I ran out of time and that was it for me. But there's they've really kind of ratcheted up the tension in a lot of these areas for especially those aspects. So I enjoyed that quite a bit. It actually looked really, really nice from a visual standpoint. We were playing on, was it PS5 Pros or PS5 or something like that? But, looked really good. The issue for me, though, I don't want to say issue, but it felt like they had taken those classic Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, not move sets, but like the character weights. She's very floaty in her jumps. At least it was in this demo for me.
She has hops.
Exactly. And I think that's because they wanted to stay as true to some of those early puzzles as possible.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if she has a more realistic weight, like, like an Uncharted or like an Indiana or whatever. Those puzzles are based on her having a very specific scale and interaction and physical or in-game physics. So changing that too much would break the puzzles. Now, there's no tank controls or anything in this. It does function really nicely from sort of the modern controls, but in this demo, I had just a little bit of a hard time kind of breaking that. It's like, wait, I'm playing a new game, but it's based on these old games. I personally think someone who liked those classic Tomb Raiders is going to really like this game. Yep. I really think so. Because it does feel like Tomb Raider, and it feels like a full remake, but then at the same time, it's the Tomb Raider that you know and love.
Yeah, I think that was like really the problem with it before is that, it got caught in this like not knowing what it wanted to be. Did it want to be this shooter action survival game that it had evolved into? Or is it a puzzle game? And I think even, Uncharted, that it like, it stole from it and now it's stealing back, focused too much on combat at some point. And I think a refocus on the puzzles of this is a treasure hunter going on an adventure that, sometimes has to fight a bear with her guns or sometimes has to fight a bunch of men that are being bad, but not like that's not the goal. Like it became the goal. And this is back to, it is just a side effect of what she does for a living.
Right.
Yeah. There were also like mini puzzles around as well that were optional ones that you could get. It was like a jagged tooth or something. So, but I looked at the inventory and this and that. There's also skill points, but it didn't. It was like not available in the demo. But like there are like little things here and there. I like the scanner. That's cool. The
scanner was really cool.
Look more in environments, but it was just like a gorgeous game. I remember like the waterfall going down, and then I swam under and seeing like the water hit under.
Yeah, has that like strength, the water that has that depth, that weight. It was really gorgeous. At the very least, you're going to be staring at the scenery and the environment design in this because they did use a lot of good coloration. And the poster and the promo stuff they've been doing has this very blue, rich blue ruins style, and that's what the game. I mean, you can see the video. That's what the game looks like in person. I mean, it really does capture that sort of hyper color in some aspects. It really punches you in the face with that, especially in 4K. So, yeah, I mean, I'm personally not the biggest Tomb Raider player just because I haven't played as many, but as a reboot, I think this is going to be something that I might, definitely get into. I just, I'm going to have to relearn. I'm going to have to learn and understand how weights are in games like this, as opposed to stuff like other games that I've been used to. So, yeah, I think it's a really strong start. I think 2027. They pushed it out too. Okay.
Yeah, they said they delayed it, so it's February something 2027.
Okay. I mean, it's not like we're not going to have games to play between now and then. I'm actually happy they did, because it would have gotten lost in whatever was in everything else coming out. So
yeah.
You guys had the chance to both play Silent Hill.
And I didn't get a chance.
I'm sorry.
I missed my
watch Silent Hill.
You got to watch somebody play Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I'll let you guys chat about this a little bit here.
Oh, so yeah. Hey, Silent Hill is back. Well, welcome to the foggy town that maybe you've been to before. I am actually not sure if this is the same town or not. But yes, Silent Hill, the moody, atmospheric horror game, has returned once again to a fictional Scottish isle to creep you out and make you feel like you will never visit a harbor town again in your life. We got to sit through a demo of somebody basically finding themselves in the center of town with the portable CRT television, which will lead you to the quests and different spooky aspects of the world. We didn't really get to see too much. We basically got to see a map of the town that essentially implied that a lot, if not all, of the sort of buildings and stuff that you're seeing through this video are accessible and explorable. They might not be fully accessible, unless you complete a quest or get the correct items or whatever. But yeah, they showed us that the CRT essentially gives you hints and clues at where your next directive is, or different things in the environment that you can go and check out. You kind of follow those clues, whether they be audio aspects, basically giving you messages of where you're going, or if they're sort of visual clues of maybe the outside of a building or a door, an address specifically to look for. And yeah, the game is mostly about stalking and crawling around. So much so that it even has a sort of lean mechanic in a game where you will not get exposed if you're leaning. So you can kind of lean around a corner and see what creepy danger is there to tell you that you certainly don't want to go that direction, without having to worry about the monster staring directly in your eyes and revealing where you're at before you get to crawl out. There are, of course, weapons to fight back with. In the demo, they basically just showed like, oh, yes, this chair leg is here. And we came across this axe head looking enemy, which I believe is in this trailer somewhere. And one swing and the chair leg, and it did absolutely nothing against it. And then it murdered us. So, it's more of a stay out of sight, only engage when ready. And also you may have noticed from this trailer that it seems that somebody has done some possibly creepy experimentations with our hand that may or may not also give us weird powers that we can use to defend ourselves against these people. So, yeah, we only really got to see a burst effect essentially that knocked out this enemy. And then it was the end of our demo. But very clearly, this game is not, so much so about getting into direct combat or being a survival game in that aspect. It's much more about kind of stalking around the tension of what you're seeing and making sure that you're not being followed by one of these guys into an area that you need to be spending more time in. Honestly, the visual aspect is probably what is going to stick out the most to people. I'm a CRT guy and an analog radio guy to begin with. So the fact that is your main sort of instigator for what you're looking for is cool. I also think it's maybe the best fog I've ever seen in the game. It was a demo. I assume we saw it on a very high-end computer, so I do not know what it'll look like on PlayStation and stuff like that. But like, it's foggy to the extent where if like I looked outside and it was that foggy in real life, I'd be like, oh, I guess I'm not going anywhere today. Like, it is very atmospheric. I think there is a tension, especially in a game when even if you are capable of fighting somebody like one-on-one, like keeping your distance, and the idea that like, okay, I see one person, but if I engage now, there's a chance that there's two more that I don't see, and that's the real problem. I think really drives combat in a non-combat focused game. So I am cautiously optimistic, mostly because I don't play horror games, so I don't know if I would want to play this game to begin with. But I mean, it looks very good. I think if you're a visual player, this is something that you're going to want to look towards, because the town itself is so creepy. And they even mentioned in the demo, they're like, oh yeah, like, I mean, if we turned the sun on and made it like a normal afternoon, like it would just be a quaint little village that you'd love to visit, like pop in for a coffee at the shop or whatever. And I don't want to ever see this town ever again. So yeah, it certainly stood out as a very visually solid experience from Summer Games Fest. I think graphics wise, it's up there with maybe the best one I saw the whole time. So not very long until it comes out. I don't have the date in front of me. I'm hoping it's at the end of this trailer.
I think it's September.
I was going to say, I want to say it's
Okay.
September 26th. Yeah, is the thing. So it's actually not that long. End of the summer, perfect as we roll into spooky season. So yeah.
Veerender, what are some of the things that you kind of picked up on from this session?
So I didn't actually get a chance to. So my Phantom Blade Zero session, because when you do an appointment, because when you do an appointment, and then sometimes PR or developers don't tell you like the time of anything, and then you're like, oh, you look at the time. And I ran there, and it was like too late for me to get in. But one of the aspects I did like from what I've seen before is them going the route of like a first person sort of situation, because like Silent Hill's very known for doing third person, and I like that they're having a very vastly different type of character as the main character as well. Like, you rarely in games where you play in like a more first person environment, especially a horror game, I can't recall any game where you have like a black man protagonist in a first person sort of horror environment, because like The Walking Dead season 1 was that was third person action point and click sort of adventure game. But I'm very much looking forward to more of this. I'm surprised how quickly it's coming out, because it felt like Silent Hill F just came out recently, like not too long ago. So I'm interested on how the scope of this game and how big it is in terms of. And they were developing these Silent Hill F and Townfall at the same time. So I'm more looking forward to what they can reveal, especially with September being very soon and a bunch of other stuff coming out at the same time. So it will hopefully work out. Everybody I know is like very much looking forward to this, especially the new avenue they're going, because like even just having a different type of main character can change the horror elements or the psychological horrors that are shown. So I'm looking more into diving into who the main character is and what sort of things they can focus on in regards to that, because I know like Silent Hill F very much molded with the character I think was a teenage high school student, and very much focused on like the ostracization and other aspects that teenagers do deal with. So I'm very much looking forward to how they interweave the character and focus on bringing that into the Silent Hill greater universe of itself.
All right, we're gonna take this is our halftime right now. We got about an hour in, 53 minutes in, but did want to throw some of the comments here. So Cat with Monocle, who we met in the lobby of our hotel, actually. It was very cool to chat with
yes,
Seth
hello.
there. Yes. No release date yet for Super Yooka-Laylee Kart. Zero says, "Oh, V, now I see that gorgeous tie."
Yeah,
Always good.
very much.
Stefan says, "Hello." He says, "Legend Underworld are the best ones." And Zero also says, "Looking good as usual." Sam, I mean, no love for Dolly. Dolly's under the weather.
It's all that Detroit gear you're wearing.
It's all that Detroit gear I'm wearing.
Guys, did you know he's from Michigan? I do want to say, just because I'm a giant audio visual nerd, so that all of the CRT footage that they are doing in Townfall, so they are obviously it's gameplay footage and locations on the map in there. But what they've done is they've actually rendered out that footage, recorded it to a VHS tape, and then recorded it off of a VHS tape like multiple times, and then re-recorded that and then dumped it back into the game to make that happen. So that's just like crazy talk. Like the amount of effort just to get authentic. Like, I mean, you can just buy filters on like Fiverr or whatever that do like just as good effect, or like do what I do and just take like a really bad VHS tape, and then you just kind of mess with the opacity on the layer in After Effects, and it's the same thing. Or you can be a crazy person and run it through a VHS re-recorder like 30 times. And I appreciate the authenticity for that.
Yeah,
definitely. Veerender, you saw, there are a couple games that you saw that we didn't get a chance to see. And the first I want to talk about, I believe it's called Valor
Mortis.
Thank you, Valor Mortis. Tell me about Valor Mortis.
That one was actually my first appointment, and I need to make sure the embargo. Okay, embargo's fine. Okay, yeah, no, I had to make sure because I know some people were publishing, but then I know some appointments were like, So basically, 16th century, sort of that situation, alternate timeline. But to grab folks, first person Souls-like.
Ooh, first person. Okay.
Yeah. So then a lot of the weapons, so like they do have like this sort of like a bit of magic here and there, and some of the enemies do have like weak spots on them, but it very much is like you're holding a sword, scabbard, and then later on in the demo, you got a pistol. And every fight is just like maybe 1 or 2, 3 enemies, so not too many at once. But like I played a lot of Souls-like and beat them. You can see here, there's I was actually pairing like so well that like because I like got into it, so I like had the frame data from seeing it. But yeah, Napoleon-esque sort of setting, and being able to like have a bit of magic powers as well, and being able to use your pistol as well. One of the things, it was such a gorgeous environment as well. I was like shocked how gorgeous and beautiful it looked, especially because I think I can't remember where the team is from, so I don't want to say where they're from, but about 70 developers as well. I think this is one of their first games or their first game. The gameplay, so the world itself is similar to like there isn't so much that you can. It's linear, but there are like beaten paths. You can go find things and like look at or find more enemies, or even like find more upgrades and that sort of thing. I really liked the sword play a lot. It really felt like there was like very strong weight to everything, and like in Souls like that's kind of a given, but having a Souls like in first person, there's like this additional grandeur and weight that you feel even more often because of it always being in first person. I think you might be able to change it to third person, but no, in first person. I really like what the studio is doing. Like some of my favorite Souls likes are Kazan from last year, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers, another one last year, Elden Ring, Night Rain as well. I think each of those did something fantastic in what it does with Souls likes. With Kazan showed that you can do an easy mode in Souls like, and there's no issue whatsoever, and you can make it so even if you die from a boss, you respawn outside, and then you still earn a bit of upgrade material. And then Wu Chang showed like what does it mean for like an all new studio to do something with a Chinese pirate warrior as protagonist, and the very different types of gameplay you can get from that. And also like the leveling system in Wu Chang was like a sphere grid similar to Final Fantasy X, where like you choose different nodes and there's a lot of respecking that you can do. And I thought that was a really cool thing to bring to Souls likes. And then Elden Ring Night Rain showcased that like, yeah, you could just make a Souls like that's only multiplayer, and it does wonders and is still a really well done game. So I'm very much looking forward to this being the one that's like, hey, what if we, what does it mean to have a Souls like in first person, and how do we bring the weightness and like trying to stab or even use secondary equipment, and what that means in a first person environment, if it creates a more sense of immersion or even difficulty specifically, which I think a lot of people, I think this will be a big surprise for a lot of people, especially because if they're not too tapped into Souls likes or that genre in general. I was talking to the developers, like one of their favorite games that they took a lot of inspiration was with Dark Souls 3, and that's very interesting because it's like 1 and 2 are the ones people talk about, or even like Elden Ring, but Dark Souls 3 specifically was a lot of big inspiration. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Did you folks get a chance to see or try it a bit? Or...
No, I only saw the trailer, and that was basically it. So I was very curious. Like,
I watched a couple people play it just there because it was right in that one door right as you came in, and the Xbox at ID plays. And yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. I think it's another one of these weapon and right hand, glowy power and left hand games. Yeah. But yeah, I think I've always I'm a big complainer that a lot of like first person shooters and first person action games have essentially just like become either BioShock or like even a Halo, where it's like you just gun ahead and you don't really have to concern about stuff. But this is a like it is a seemingly melee focused first, and then guns and abilities are kind of secondary. But they want you to feel the weight of combat. They want you to be thinking about parrying and like sort of like what how a like one-on-one combat would have been for a person at the time, I would think. But then obviously then with the mysterious sci-fi glowy powers that can also do things. So I mean, yeah, it definitely looks interesting. I want to for myself feel that kind of weightiness, because I think a lot of those first person action games can get some of that stuff wrong. But I from what I saw, it looked like very satisfying to parry an attack and then stab somebody straight in the neck to end the fight.
Yeah, you do have like this little dash that you can use for like enemies that have unblockable effects, but outside of that, it's very much like sword play to sword play. So you are having to, if you can time it right, like you can block weapons with your sword, it'll still take off damage of you, which was interesting. So because I know some Souls likes go with like, oh, if you block, then you don't lose any damage, or you block, you mitigate. And this one was a very you block and you mitigate. But if you do parry at the exact time, then it just like gets you into an instant kill motion. And some of them are very cool and like pretty graphic. And then outside of that, you had little dash, so there is a bit of maneuverability. But outside of that, like I think this might be. I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm very much looking forward to properly playing it and see where things go with it, and seeing more of the secondary stuff and what that was. Because like I could do like the only things that I got a chance to do was get the pistol and also a little fire like magic sort of thing, similar to like BioShock on the left, but like a lot more of like a technical graphical upgrade, of course. I did like that, like their weak spots around the environment to like red glowing ones that you shoot. There was like a tree that I shot with the pistol, and then it brought the tree over that I could go over and go to new places. So I'm thinking like in the full game there will be more sort of beaten paths where there'll be more like things to destroy and find as well. That was the main one with just when you get your pistol, you can just go that way. And even like some there was one boss that mini boss I thought that like I couldn't parry anything, and then it's just mainly focusing on like dashing away or trying to do that. And like I could feel myself like moving my body at the same time, so it's that type of game. But no, I'm very much looking forward to it. This was a big like surprise for me because I didn't know much about the game, but I also didn't know anything about it in terms of like release date or anything. I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm big on Souls like, so I'm very excited for what the team is doing.
Yeah. Excellent. Flipping to a completely different kind of game, you saw Mr. Records.
Yes.
Tell me about Mr. Records. I didn't see it. I saw the Day of the Devs presentation, which this is from, but I did not see the game. I didn't play
it. I thought this was really cool. I know, Sam, you played it, right?
No. So, again, watched a couple people playing it, and yeah, saw it at the Day of the Dev stream, but...
Sure. So with this, it's a rhythm beat game, but also at the same time, you're buying... You own a record shop and you're selling records to people. Like they'll talk about like, oh, I'm trying to find a love song because of a significant other, so you recommend them a record you have, and then one cool aspect I liked is that like you have to at least beat the records you have before you can sell them. So you beat through how the gameplay is in itself. So there wasn't too much of like what that entails of. You'll be able to like buy new records and like sell them to people, but there wasn't too much on the outside of the music aspects. Like every day you open the store and people come in and then you help them out about what they want to buy. And then you also build a strong relationship with each of them, which it didn't really tell. I don't think they focused too much on that as well, but like after you give a record to them, you get like the gauge fills up how strong your relationship is with them. There was no release date or even timing for this because they want the team to take time for it, and I had no qualms with that. But like here, you can see you can buy some of the records, and then you do try out. It's too bad none of the main team developers were there, but I even for who was there, they were like, "Oh, you look like Mr." Because I was wearing a bow tie as well, and Mr. Records wears a bow tie. So one of the people showing it off said that about me, which that was funny, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. It's they didn't show too much genre-wise for the songs because it was just like not too long of a demo, but I was playing it on Steam Deck specifically, and I really like it. One of the interesting aspects is for rhythm games, if people have played like Crypto the Necrodancer or anything else, like even Fresh Tracks, which came out last year, is that if you're not doing anything in Mr. Records, you can just kind of just like do whatever you want. But in like other rhythm games, it's very like you can only move when the beats happen. So like if there's like nothing in terms of like you don't need to jump or you don't need to attack or anything or slide, then you can just like do whatever you want. Because a lot of rhythm games are focused on like you can't do anything until like things happen to you. But like this one was very like, no, it's more forgiving in that sense. I liked it a lot. I think it's very cool. Hope to see more information about it in terms of release date and that sort of stuff. And more the music, because I know the trailer showed a lot of different music genres, but it's hard to gauge that when you only have a few to play on a demo. Especially it was the start of the game as well, because you just get the record shop, you just start helping people. But I played 4 different levels, and I need to play more. And I was pretty bad at them. But like I was like, I wonder if like because Sam, you were saying about like having one person do like all these different genres if it becomes a bit
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be a little concerned. They did mention, that their soundtrack spans genre, and they've reached out to friends and stuff. But it is still essentially a 20-ish song track list or whatever, and it's still designed by the same 20-ish people, all 20 of those songs. So my fear is how different does this music end up sounding across the entire game? Like it is, my concern is that the country song ends up sounding exactly like the hip hop song. The exact same people produce the hip hop song, produce the like bluegrass song, produce the dubstep song, produce whatever, right? But ultimately, it's just going to come down to if these songs are good. Because like visually, it's great. Like I think it definitely passes the first like, oh, that looks really cute. Like that looks really fun, like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing. It's just then the music, because if you're into that sort of beat matching gameplay, like, as long as the music is solid, committed. So it's already got over the visual hump. It needs to get over the audio hump. And we'll see once we get closer to release, like if it manages to do that. But it's already batting pretty solid, just from the first sniff.
I feel like the first four levels that they had and the music genres for that, I don't think there were too much of an issue of like the variedness. But when we get to like the other 15 plus songs, it might. You never know, because like if they'll, sometimes they'll just put like the strongest starters at the front, and then we'll have to see with that. I know there will be a lot.
B and C sides of the album,
right?
Okay,
right.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. So hopefully there's more information. I have no qualms if it comes out next year whatsoever. It was they also did announce it that week as well. So if I remember correctly.
Cool.
When you mentioned you played it on Steam Deck, right? It seems like one of those perfect, like pop on a pair of headphones and play a couple levels game.
Yeah, because I know like Rhythm Heaven has done really well sales wise on like on the Switch and on Steam Deck, and like very much so being able to put in and play that on a Steam Deck is like the ideal sort of situation for a lot of people I know.
Let's check out some family-friendly gaming. And apparently this game is out, but we didn't know until we got there and checked it out. This one particularly, Bluey's Quest for the Gold Pen. And turn off the...
Bluey's here. Everybody welcome Bluey.
Everybody welcome Bluey. We had a chance to play this. I think Veerender, you maybe checked in on this as well. I am surprised at this game because it's definitely a children-focused adventure game. And I don't want to say Zelda-ish, but it's more about like exploration and solving little puzzles here and there and pushing blocks and collecting things. And Bluey, she can dig up stuff, and so there's not a lot of, I guess you could say now, there's like no violence in this. The story is interesting. It's the family is actually playing sort of this Dungeons and Dragons style experience at home. And I think that's actually really adorable from that standpoint, because it kind of says like, hey, let's get the family together. We can, it'll give you the idea that the story is constantly shifting from a fun standpoint of towards the characters, and the opening section of the game is really funny because the dad, I think Bingo, is it the father's name? I can't remember all the characters' names. Please feel free to correct me. But the dad is playing, and everybody's sort of ganging up on him, and he's getting really kind of bummed out that everybody's ganging up on it. So he changes the story midway through and throws a whole different loop in there. But I felt it was kind of a sweet game from that standpoint. I love the visual style of this. I played this on the Switch. I played on the Switch, undocked on tabletop mode, and kind of dug it. But Great animation, yeah.
Is it voiced by the actual Bluey cast also?
It's voiced. I couldn't tell you if it's the actual cast because I don't really know.
You've
I'm gonna
not seen
assume
enough
it. I'm gonna
episodes?
assume it actually is because this is a licensed game, and it looked really like high quality compared to what you would think of. It again, very easy puzzles in this. Collect all the stars in this level, and they give you extra stars to collect, right? Or do these things 5 times, but you can actually do them like 15 times if you want to, max out on everything. So there's plenty in this game to make it sort of accessible for younger players. But if you're someone who wants to super complete everything, you totally can do that too. So but yeah, I kind of dug it. I mean, I'm a dude in his 20s, and and I thought it was a pretty cool, kind of a fun way to take Bluey and throw in some magic and some adventure in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, our resident person with child that is currently into Bluey isn't with us this evening. But it definitely felt like a game that even if your kids maybe not necessarily old enough or willing to hold on to the controller, if they're a big Bluey fan, you could probably lead them to enough things to like, oh, okay, now we're to this area, collect all the stars. Okay, you collected all the stars. Now watch this little like Bluey like episode for 30 seconds.
Yes, that's exactly what this is. Exactly what this is. What do you think, Veerender?
I didn't get a chance to probably play it, but then I also am like,
you saw it in the corner of your eye.
Yeah, I did the appointment for it because I got a bunch of the appointments together maybe a month ago. But then Summer Game Fest, and I'm like, oh wait, this is already out.
Yeah. Then I never played it, so I figured let me give it a shot.
Yeah, and then I was also like, oh, are any of the developers here? Because I'd love to talk to them about like, bringing a very established IP to a game. But I did make the comment, I think to you folks, that like if this came out 2007, 2008 on the Wii exclusive,
oh man,
this was gonna do like this is like it looks like Paper Mario. Like
right.
Like generally blown away by how well done and well designed it is, because it's the argument like kids deserve good art as well. Like they deserve like good games and good media as well, and this is definitely a type where I can see like, oh, a 6-year-old can play this and a 60-year-old can play this together. There's a lot of cool stuff.
I just checked, and the game apparently got an update today that
voice acting,
fully voice acting.
Wow,
full voice acting to the game with the original Bluey cast. So
that's
So yeah, if your kids were on the fence and all they needed is to hear Bluey's voice, well, congrats, Bluey's there.
Yeah, I know, like that's like a big thing, because in the sense of like Paw Patrol is a good example where like they have the Paw Patrol show and a lot of kids watch it, but then for the Paw Patrol film they just get like A-list actors, and the weirdest thing.
Not everybody has Tom Hanks's brother to do them in a film.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for like kids are just like gonna go watch the Paw Patrol film or something they're like so invested in. They're like, they don't sound
they don't sound right.
Yeah, so no, it's good that they did that for the voice acting for this, and like kids deserve like good, strong. Like it's not a game that like talks down to them either, because like
no, not at all.
That aesthetics are great, like gorgeous game. Yeah.
I want to move into completely not a different style game, still based on an animation, but it was in the same area. It's also based on a property, and it's a fighting game. So it is the Avatar Legends fighting game. I had a chance to play this. I think Freddie, you did as well.
Yes. What did you think about it?
Okay. I'm gonna
nailing that mute button there, bud.
No, I was surprised by this game because you typically like licensed fighting games never quite hit the goal, right, of being a fighting game. This is not trying to be a fighting game, I guess, from my standpoint. It's trying to be an extension of the Avatar universe, because you do get to kind of play as characters from across different eras in Avatar. You have Aang, you have Korra, you have a bunch of other folks in there, but found myself very quickly gravitating towards one or two characters that I played. I think they had like 8 characters playable in this demo session. And some of the stuff was locked out, so we couldn't do like any story mode or anything like that. But because it's so focused on the characters as their skill sets, it made it a little bit different than a typical fighting game for me. And I don't know if you kind of felt that same way too, but being very focused, I thought it was actually really cool that it was focused on the different elements. I found Korra stuff to be very interesting because they had to you had to activate each of the different elements before, Korra could do the special, like the ultimate special move. Meanwhile, other characters could do their moves a lot quicker or in different ways, but they may not be as powerful. So there were interesting takes on what, how they balanced all that. And I don't know, I guess like depending on which character you choose, some characters were a lot easier for beginners like me in this game. Other characters I could see, other playable characters would definitely be more for those folks who knew the systems a little bit better.
Yeah, there was also like one thing that was interesting is before you pick a character, you pick like you pick different like some character will have like one for Azula was like, oh, you start in madness mode,
an assistant or something.
Assistant, like, oh, your flow recovery is better, or your special moves are stronger. Like everybody had like 3 or 4 choices of that,
and they were all different. They were all different too.
They're all very different as well. Every character I played a few, and like there's very vastly different design. And also I know from like asking questions with one of the main people was like, they didn't like translate these from like the show. What they did is like they continually went to Nickelodeon like every week to make sure everything is like correct and like done well, like visually. So it was like pretty much like the ground up from a lot of this, but they were constantly checking with Nickelodeon to make sure it was like exact from like even the most minute aspects, like that it was correct, and because it is from license. And I think like when I was a kid, I used to play they used to have like on Nickelodeon.com, they used to have like the fighting game there, and they used to have like these Flash older games of like Avatar, of course. But it's interesting to see a fully licensed game doing that, and I'm very much looking forward to. I think with the characters they have 8 characters. They're so vastly different from each other that they could just like have that as the roster, and that would be more than enough. So we'll see. I don't know if there's a release date yet.
I thought it was actually it's July, sometime in July.
Yeah, July 2nd, I think it says at the end of the trailer. So.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
It's what's interesting to me, and I'm glad you brought this up, of how vastly different. First of all, 2 things. One, you said you played this stuff in Flash on Nickelodeon's website as a kid.
Yeah,
man, that I was working full time. I'm so old. But it almost felt, and this is a weird comparison, but hear me out. It almost felt like playing Smash Brothers, because the characters are so different. And like I said, I gravitated towards a couple that I found their movesets to be tuned to how I play fighting games. And yet I think there's going to be folks out there that are like, I'm going to go for more of like the tank style character, or the character that has this specific type of moveset because I like how they play. And I think that is kind of a testament to the development of the developers here, because like you said, they went back to Nickelodeon and said, we want to make this accurate to it's real. This is a part of Avatar. This isn't just an IP grab. This is like, they want to make sure that this hits what Avatar is. And I think that does go to the characters, because a lot of times you'll see these licensed fighting games and it's like they've just essentially reskinned Street Fighter or whatever,
So I have a question and then a comment and maybe a follow-up question. So first question is, what is the like combo system like?
It's light, medium, heavy.
Okay,
and then you have a flow button, which is like you can see when they're like that, like when they're the recovery one, like that.
The flow button is really interesting because it is sort of like a movement thing, because they really said the developer that was there was telling me like that you have to understand how to use the flow button, because that will be how you move and how to do specific moves, and you time it with that. So yeah, sorry, go ahead, continue.
Yeah,
Sam,
so,
what's your
so my comment was so like I mean, you mentioned the Flash game and being much older. But like Avatar was like you know, sort of coming out when I was like aging out of it. But with this, like, just from looking at it, like, even if you remove the fact that it's a licensed or whatever, like, it reminds me a lot of like anime fighting games, where it is about speed, it is about flashy, cool moves that are easy to pull off, and anybody that, like, you know, puts in like a couple matches can, you know, look as impressive as this little trailer bit of combat.
Yeah.
And yeah, then adding the fact that it is a cool license that like is Avatar, as like somebody who's, you know, maybe doesn't want to commit to all those hours, like, this fighting game looks really solid. Like, I like, you know, like somebody like a Persona fan, I loved seeing whatever the Arena Ultra Max, whatever those games are exactly called. And like, I see no difference between that and like this for Avatar, and like this looks killer. Like I unfortunately, I guess, didn't understand that this was available to me like one room away and didn't play it, because this looks awesome. Like, I'm much more interested in something like this than I am like a Street Fighter or something. Because the movement just looks so cool, and like hearing that there's like a system that's dedicated to essentially the movement of characters, like, is awesome. Like a great drawing point for me.
One of the cool things with the flow system is that they made it very character specific. So like somebody like Toph is sturdy and is not the type to like move around. So then what she does is she makes the ground, like, she rumbles the ground, so then it pulls in opponents. So like there's like little things going on here and there.
Yeah, and that was cool, because I didn't realize that early on. I'm thinking, wow, she's very slow, and I couldn't figure out. And then all of a sudden, because you can, you know, I paused it and then I looked at the move sets. I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? And then I tried it out and I thought, oh, well, that sets things up differently, and I'm going to play this match differently.
Yeah,
you know, and then you start to understand how they bounce off against other opponents, like Korra. To me, being able to do these kind of cool distance and ranged moves made it so that, like, okay, now I can kind of match up differently with her, you know. So it was cool. It was a very cool way to start to balance and understand that stuff.
That 2.5D to like 3D transition too for that one move looks wild. Like,
really good.
I can't wait to see this at Evo next year.
Lord. I mean, like, one of the main dudes, he's gotten top 8 at Evo many times. Like, they have no folks on the development team and the PR team. So
I won't be capable of it, but I can't wait to watch the top 8 of Evo next year.
We have another game here that I wanted to touch on, that a couple of us, I think all 3 of us maybe played, and that's Onimusha, Way of the Sword. And this was, I know they had the demo available of one section on Steam and on PS5 and stuff, but now they actually let us play a specific area during our hands-on at Capcom's booth. And it's interesting. Sam and I bounce controllers back and forth a little bit, then I let kind of Sam finish up at the end, facing off against the Genma. But But again, I am a cat when it comes to this stuff, because I will stop, and instead of doing what I'm supposed to do, I will start to stare and look and analyze everything. To me, Onimusha is going to be the kind of game that most people will finish in like 16 to 18 hours. It's going to take me 65 hours to finish, because I will be staring at every freaking detail and redoing scenes over and over again, because maybe I do suck at it, but at the same time, I suck at it because I'm really enjoying looking and interacting with everything in the wrong way. But the battle we faced off against wasn't against this dude. It was against this guy that was like picking limbs, I think, or something weird like that, right? From the townspeople there. But sorry, Sam.
Oh yes, yeah. So essentially, there was a shrine that was offering let's say, solutions to your problems.
Yes.
And instead of dealing with the real solution, we're dealing with some of the symptoms, like somebody who no longer wanted to play their instrument.
Yeah.
And instead of telling their teacher they were going to stop playing the instrument, we solved the solution by removing their fingers.
My favorite one was
fun stuff.
My favorite one was this older gentleman who's like, yeah, listen, I've been having problems with my knees all my life. So they just cut off the bottoms of my legs and boy, I don't have any more pain.
Oh, problem solved, doggy.
No, problem solved.
Yeah, not a great time.
No.
So yeah, the demo saw us finding essentially a few of these missing. I believe there was three of these stone figures that we had to return.
Stone
which
figures,
then granted us some of their power to then fight said guy. And then once you successfully defeated it, then gave you all of the power to your gauntlet.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, it's the combat is your standard, pretty much sword fighting, katana, fight, parry, counterattack. It does also feature a ability that I think is in the other mainline Onimusha games, which is called Anzu, I believe, or Inzu, which is essentially if you're being attacked right at the point before you get hit with their sword, if you attack, you essentially dart behind them and attack them, which is an instant kill on somebody who is smaller, or just a heavy damage attack to a boss or a bigger target. And the combat is very quick, and you can get surrounded by people very quickly. And you can stun these targets. And if you stun a bunch of targets, you can basically chain kills like a cool action movie.
It is really cool to do that. It's really cool to chain those.
That's like essentially what the combat's going for, is making you feel like the coolest sword samurai in a like demon samurai movie. Fighting off I can't think, but the Genma, I believe.
The Genma are the name of the demons.
Fighting off the Genma that have inflicted this world with miasma and are essentially draining it of its life force. And you're trying to figure out why this gauntlet is on your hand that also gives you abilities for some reason. So,
Veerender, how far did you get into the demo? Did you get a chance?
I didn't get a chance to because the way appointments were done. But like, I'm a big Onimusha fan. I played when they did the re-release for second one. I played a lot of that.
Yeah.
I played Onimusha Tactics last year for the first time, and I beat it as well. So yeah. I'm so glad it's brought back because the last one, like the newest entry was probably 4, right? Like Soki, Dawn of Dreams, if I remember correctly. Soki's game. That was like 2006 or 2008 or something.
Yeah, I think I wrote in my article it was like 20 years since the last mainline title.
Yeah, no, I'm super glad that they've been bringing them back as well. I'm very much looking forward to like properly playing the full game for this, especially because of how well they've done with the remasters and the remakes, some of them that they've released in the past few years. Do you know if it's one of the main characters from the first or second one, or is it like an all new character?
I think it's an all new character, right? It's based on like a famous swordsman.
Okay.
Yes, based on a famous swordsman. I believe they also have a specific famous actor who is playing the main character.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, this is a like brand new entry. It's it's utilizing the franchise's like history and lore and stuff, but they wanted it to be a completely separate entry. So if you hadn't played any of the previous titles, you could start here. I will actually say, since I brought up that there's an actor playing it, there is a lot of British dialogue in this game. At some point, one of the characters said bollocks and ran away, and I was like, what? It was, nothing holding it against it. It was just very surprising. I did not, it caught me off guard in the demo. But in the actual video presentation and a little bit in the demo, it does suggest that the game and sort of the routes and maybe even some of the quests that you take aren't maybe as linear as you might expect.
Yeah.
It seems like there are both, your average sort of like open world, like, oh, stranger quest, there's somebody here, I'm dangling from a tree, please save me. like quest. But then like I'm not sure if like, you know, our boss fight that we saw in our demo is something that we had to do in a specific order, or could we have gone to somebody else? So yeah, that kind of like asks a little bit more of, is that, you know, more open world, or are you doing like missions that slowly open that open world? But yeah, you know, questions. So, but the combat system felt really good. I must admit that I did in fact get killed, I believe twice, from our big guy at the end there, with his grabby hands. He, to be fair, he does have a way to restore his health if you don't knock out the little weird siphon
like
thing,
the umbilical cord thing that he had.
But
it was, I will say, it was interesting. Like there were parts. So like I said, Sam and I were handing the controller back and forth, and I grabbed the controller first and was kind of doing a little bit of the exploration and understanding where the figurines are like these 8 brothers, essentially, these like 8 portly little figures, and you have to find 3 of them. 3 of the brothers are missing, and they're just strewn throughout the village that you're in. By the way, this village is really gorgeous, and there's a ton of depth in exploration. Well, you'd get to like a certain area of this village and clear it out, and then my natural thing to do would be to move on to the next area. So I start moving to the next area, and I had both times that I did that, I had the PR rep tap me on the shoulder and say, actually, you should go back. The figurine is right there. So I was like, okay, sorry, I'll turn around, go back and get the figurine, or whatever. But the inclination is to continue exploring and moving forward, because I'm so used to action games just being constantly pushing forward. But no, there is a little bit of exploration in this that sets it apart from just standard action. And then you get into like a cool battle. Like Sam said, you kind of string these awesome combos together. And I think I got to one point where I was just surrounded and obliterated, and happened a couple times. Both times I'm like, all right, here you go, Sam. You take over, handle it. So Sam would come in, and then we'd, you know, totally he was learning off of watching me. That's why.
Right.
You know, but yeah, it's the battle, the cinematic style of battle, swordsmanship is very cool, because like Sam said, you know, you could do these moves that you will parry and then block and then wrap around the person and do this sort of, or the enemy, do this sort of instant kill. And it was such a cool feeling that you're like, oh, I got it. I timed it right. It's very satisfactory. So I'm excited about this game. I mean, they just announced it's coming to Switch 2 as well.
Yeah.
Very curious to see how it's going to function on there. I didn't get, we played on the PS5, but it just looks stunning on the screens they had there.
I'm looking forward to what more of the demon mode is, because every Onimusha has, you know, the main character can turn into a demon for a bit or set amount of turns. So I'm looking forward to more of that.
And there were these little Oni things you could do. It's like a little hotkey or like a wheel of things that you could do. But after the ending was actually kind of funny, because Sam finishes the battle after a couple tries. I would have done it in just one try, but it took
so the one try you did do it, huh? You didn't manage to even hit him once, right?
That's true. So Sam defeats him, and then he absorbs the or whatever the cut scene goes through, and you could see Musashi's, I think it's the name of the character, his hands are both like now like pitch black, like demonic, and you could see that he's starting to turn into the Oni. And then really the funniest part was we're just kind of standing there and nothing's happening, and we're like, we can't do anything. He's just like slowly walking around, and Stam and I are looking at each other. We're like, what's going on here? The other PR rep comes over, is like, no, you guys are done. This is it. This is the end of it. He's like, we never coded an ending to this part.
It's like, it's essentially soft locked.
It's soft locked. Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So when you finish the fight, the stone guys that are in charge of the shrine and the like shrine guardian then grant you like the power into the gauntlet. And your hands get what appear to be a little corrupted, and you appear to gain more serious armor, right? Like more dramatic shoulder pads and stuff. And I'm sure it's one of those, as you gain more abilities and stuff like that, you're going to gain more of this armor set. And separate yourself from your own humanity.
But yeah, we had a comment in the chat. Stefan says, "Is it Toshiro Mifune?" Yes, it is Toshiro Mifune. Toshiro Mifune passed away in like sometime in the late 90s. So they've reskinned. They reskinned it.
Reskin.
They've taken the scan of his face and they've used his likeness in this. I think they did the same thing for the anime back like a couple years ago. There's a Netflix anime. He's still very popular in Japanese culture, and I think they work with his family to his estate to do this and kind of keep his legacy going because he's very well known and people still love seeing him pop up in things. So this is sort of a way for Capcom to honor his legacy and keep him in the in the public setting there. So yeah, very cool. I'm super excited. I had never played an Onimusha game. Oh, then I saw this last year at Summer Game Fest, just like a hands-off demo.
Yeah.
Just again behind closed doors type of video setting thing. And then that was done. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, you know what? Thanks for coming out. Here's the code to the remaster that was out on Switch too. They came out on Switch. Yeah. So I started playing on Switch. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really great. This is awesome. I'm an Onimusha guy.
Yeah.
So, and I'm definitely an Onimusha guy.
Sweet.
Really got time for just a couple more things here. One is that both of y'all saw something called Blood Dungeon. Veerender, I'm going to have you kind of take the lead on this one. Tell me about Blood Dungeon.
So this is Messhoff's newest game, and what pulled me in the most is like, it's Microsoft Paint. Like, that's what the graphics and art style are. But like, I've been telling people, like, it's like jittery and like they're always moving. So like, I've never seen that for like MS Paint sort of moves of any kind. But I had to play the demo, which it had all the characters and it has. I got a chance to try different characters. I'm like hooked on this so hard. It's like you level, you attack it. It auto attacks enemies and everything. So similar to other games in that where you just focus on the movement. But one of the coolest things is like you're not just like, you're also like your character's climbing around. They're all swimming around. They're they're grappling and climbing ladders all at the same time where it's automatically attacking. And the upgrades are like very character dependent. One of the ones is like, if you're playing a character who uses like bullets or uses I think the main character, the first one you have is like, or maybe it was the second one, shoots out webs. And I thought that was very cool to have different types of things. There's one character that uses like a harpoon you grab, and you can also choose those abilities each time you level up. But like, I'm a big fan of games where you're like, you level up and you pick one of the three things. It's great. It's awesome. Like I love getting to talk to the developer about it. I had maybe 5 minutes left in the appointment, and I'm like, okay, if I play one more run, I'm gonna go over the appointment time, and then so I had to like stop myself from going over. But like, I'm definitely big into this. I really love the aspects. One of the things that stuck out to me the most is like the underwater swimming stuff has like oxygen, but then also one of the upgrades you can pick is like, when you're like 30% less oxygen or less, then your attacks are stronger. And I've never seen that sort of thing where like an environment like hazard like that, where if you're low on oxygen, things get strong. I've never seen that in any game, actually. Sure. So that was very cool, that sort of thing. And they also said like they're gonna, like, they have maybe, I think they had like around 10 characters available, and they all play in very, very different ways. They had like Skinja, which was like, it's like naked ninja, and they have like different types of characters that have very different aesthetics and just like very different looking and jittering in very different ways. And it was cool and awesome. Like they said post release they might be looking into making more characters as well, and it's fun and great, and I absolutely love it so much. Like, I can't, like, this is gonna be the game I just like, I can play in short bursts, but then the short bursts are gonna turn to long bursts, and then it's just like
So chaotic looking. I love it.
Yeah. And Sam, you got to play it as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. When I saw the demo, he mentioned that I have the big demo up here, and then for like walk-ups, like I have it on Steam Deck. And everybody I saw then, I was like, oh, go play it on. Go ask him for the Steam Deck demo.
Yeah.
Like, just go play it. It's it is incredibly focused on your movement. It is, but like it gives you the most movement abilities just by default of. If you see it, you can probably climb up on it unless it's got a lock on it. And then if you got a key, you can still climb on it. So you can do a bunch of options there. But then there is also different items and enhancements to your abilities that basically force you to rethink how you're moving and maybe even like completely reshuffling how you're doing that run based on what sort of items pop up. So you mentioned like the harpoon, like it might be a selectable item where you have to you throw it, but you have to go recover it to throw it again. So, it might throw in a direction that is unsafe for you to encounter now, but like you really want to circle back and get that harpoon because it is your main damage dealer.
It's incredibly strong as well, but like or like the oxygen system, like even with the water, it doesn't say like while you're underwater, it implies that there might be other ways to eliminate your oxygen. And then even so, like I got an ability that was like instead of a double jump, if I held A, I would use it as like a fart jetpack or whatever for a limited amount of time. Yeah, so, I never saw that. So then there must be so many abilities to choose from.
There's just so much stuff that you can like do, and unlike like a lot of roguelikes, like the randomness is sort of just in the spawns and the sort of items that you collect. But the maps stay the same. So you can sort of learn about the map. You can learn about different locations where sort of items are like permanently like on that map each run. So like you can basically plan out your route. Like, okay, when things start to get shaky, I know I have this key, so I can run over here and open a door, which has a health pack in it. But doing that might put me in a closed off space, which might not be the best solution. So you can really sort of like use that map awareness to push runs farther than you might not be able to, just with your abilities. So like, it's always just so wild when there's like that much level of complexity and thought into like how things are done when there is a jiggly man made in MS Paint that is like you're like your character that you choose, and like it's just another one of those games that proves that like Newgrounds and stuff like that will forever be timeless because like this is something that could have been on Newgrounds if somebody had put like this stuff together. Like this could have been on Newgrounds, and instead it is an indie game that's probably going to be very successful because it is wild. And like even like sitting here, I'm thinking about like playing these levels in the demo and being like, oh man, and that's hey, that's the other thing. There's a demo on Steam right now. Just go play the demo. Like for yourself, see the wiggly man on your own screen and jump around. Like
the MS Paint graphics, complimentary to the highest
coming
degree.
up soon, late summer too.
Yeah, bone up.
Bone up. I love that. Bone up. So I'm gonna blitz through. I was able to stop by the Nintendo section at Summer Game Fest. I don't think either of you guys were able to or not. No. I'm not sure. Okay. Nope. I snuck in there. Don't tell them. No, just kidding. So I saw 4 games there that I want to discuss real quick. The first game that I saw over there was, so I'm like a few years ago, Among Us was everywhere, right? We were all playing Among Us, and I had a chance to play their brand new single player story game. It's actually called Among Us Story on Guard, and it stars a character called Guard, basically. The game opens and it looks like Among Us. You're walking around on the ship, blah blah blah. But it's definitely based on the TV series. So there's the Among Us TV series that's out right now. In this, you're a character you've been told to sort of almost like you're being sold a timeshare. You're like, hey, put on this VR headset and you'll go into this cool little virtual escape. Well, you do that and you're immediately thrown into this you're convicted of murdering the cook in the on the ship that you're on. And so your goal is to prove yourself innocent, but that includes a lot of the tropes of Among Us, like crawling through vents and sabotaging things here and there. But they actually are these little puzzles that you're using to sort of link stuff together. Like, so your goal is to in this demo, at least, your goal is to go ahead and get a hold of the cook's body so you can prove that you didn't kill him. But you have to find the cook's body. Okay, the cook's body is in the med bay. Well, the med bay's locked. So how are you going to get in the med bay? Well, there's the vent system. So you got to get in the vent system, but you don't know where to look in the vent system. So but who does? Engineer does. That's also kind of funny. All the characters are just named after their jobs.
Yeah.
So that's like this very basic thing. And so to do that, you have to short out the electrical panel. To do that, you have to get you have to make coffee and spill the coffee on the electrical panel. But to make the coffee, you have to grab the beans and grind it. So it's like all these like little steps that you have to do along the way. And it's actually kind of fun and quirky, and none of them take very long. But for fans of Among Us, this is definitely something that I think will go over very well, because it's Among Us, but they've done a really nice job of translating it into a single player experience. Mm-hmm. And they purposefully went with sort of a different art style. And it's not super clear in this video, but when you play the game, it almost has like this papercraft look to it a little bit. And I enjoyed it. The demo, I think, is June 15th on like Steam Next Fest, so Monday or so. So check it out. But yeah, cool idea. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to it in a weird way, because I like Among Us, but I don't always want to play with other people. This is like playing an actual Among Us session, but there's a little bit more weight and a little bit more narrative to it. So that was pretty cool. Another game I got to play was called Demi and the Fractured Dream. And this is very much as soon as I grabbed the controller, they said, you're going to know right away where we picked our choices for what this game is. And it's a Zelda-like, it's a Tunic-like. There's like aspects of Portal in here as well. But it's a 3D action adventure game. You're this character who's moving around this world, and the part that we got to play was this small area where you're kind of walking through this temple. It's very, very, Zelda temple-ish from that standpoint. But so you're getting through this temple, and your goal is to kind of you gotta get to these big doors, right? So how do you do that? Well, you have to activate this crystal to make this path appear. So you swipe you swing your sword at the crystal, the path appears, but it doesn't quite open the door, it doesn't reach all the way. You kind of go around and you make it to the other side, and then you're kind of met with this raft that's sitting in the middle of this lake. And so how do you get across it? If there's the raft, you can't paddle. Well, in the fashion of these types of games, you have a giant feather that you can use to blow gusts of air. So this whole first section is kind of that we played was sort of like a tutorial of getting to understand the tool set that you have without actually like holding your hand. You're not you're not being handheld. It's not telling you every 5 seconds, in order to do this, you have to do this. It's really just saying, take and use the things you have and figure out ways to use them, because I think that actually ended up playing out very well in that area. So you open up some stuff, you can use that, you find out you can figure out you can use that feather to push a cart aside. And then because you realize you can push a cart aside with that weather, that kind of instinctively tells you, well, I can push other things with this feather. And hey, there's a little glowing orb over there that's shooting across. And on the other side of the crystal, what if I use my feather to blow the orb when it gets near me to go to the crystal? Oh, that will activate this and start. So it's like you instinctively start to learn how things work. And I thought that was actually really an interesting way to kind of teach us without telling us directly what to do. Really small snippet of an area. The actual battle, system is very class. You lock onto a character. You could do some swipes with your sword. You have to roll left, dodge, parry. But it was almost like rhythm. They had us going up against one of the bosses, and the boss was, there's almost, I don't want to say it's predictable, but there was a cadence to how they were attacking. So the boss would launch like 3 waves of energy. So it's like jump, 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 and then the boss moves to the left, for instance. Jump, 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 roll, jump, swing, backtrack 3 times. And so it's almost like a rhythm in a weird way. Like, I don't know if they specifically designed it to be rhythm based, but it felt like there was a little bit of rhythm, because it's like you can almost do it blindfolded, like jump, 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 roll, jump, do that. And then you start to understand, again, some other aspects of the game from that standpoint. So I enjoyed it. It didn't look like it was a super deep experience, but again, we just only played this little area. I'm going to assume if you're a fan of these style games, this is going to be right up your alley. So that was Demi, and I think it was Demi and the Fractured Dream. And then I had a chance to play the new Rayman game, the new old Rayman game, which is, I think it's called Rayman Legends Retold. And I played this on Switch too, as well. Obviously, I think there were previews from like a few weeks ago of folks that some of the press had a chance to play it on some other platforms. I played it on Switch too. First time seeing it, I was actually doubtful of this game from the standpoint of, why would you need to remake an already gorgeous game? Right? It's Rayman Legends is phenomenally beautiful, hand-drawn art.
Yeah. Listen,
after playing this demo, I'm all in. I didn't realize I needed a Rayman Legends remake like I need a Rayman Legends remake. It is stunning what they've done with this game, with the art style, because they've gone from a beautiful hand-painted game, which is still out there. You can still play that. And I think you can play it on every platform that this is releasing on as well. But they've now made it like, DreamWorks, Pixar, Illumination. Like they said, let's take Rayman in this game specifically and really ratchet up the visual effects to make it look like modern animation. And they did a phenomenal job, because you kind of see in the video, it's way better when it's like buttery smooth, 60 frames per second, 4K, gorgeous game. And another game that felt like riding a bike. I remember, like, I played the game when it first released, and I haven't touched it since. But because I played, like, the Rayman Legends and Rayman Origins are very similar in how they perform. Rayman Legends is specifically because it's so good, you remember how to do specific things, right? I played it on the Wii U way back in the day, and so it was like I was riding a bike. I could just pick it right back up. I knew where to jump in every specific aspect. I knew where the secrets were, and it's been like a decade, maybe more, 15. I don't know how long it's been since I played the game last. But the cool thing, and the reason that it works so well, so I asked the developer that was there, I'm like, this feels so natural. How did you guys manage to, how did you and your team manage to get it to be perfect with the full remake like this? And he said, well, the original game is still there. That's one layer. Like, it's the engine is still there. The game is still there. They've built a second layer on top of it that's just the visual style. So it's almost like it's running 2 engines on top of each other. But that original game, that original engine is on this. So that's why it feels like that original game. Anyway, so good. Looks beautiful. I played on the handheld, and then I just did a real quick, 2-3 minutes on the big screen, the Switch there, because they had me, they had the option to play either. Well, I'm all in. Friends, I am so surprised by this. Was not expecting to even care about this game, because they announced it last week. Let's go. Yes. All right, cool. I want to play this all over again. I want to play it all over again. Cool. And then the last game I had a chance to play, and this is really funny the way I kind of wrote my article, if you guys get a chance. It was, I believe it's called Order of the Sinking Star. And this is, you guys know Jonathan Blow. He's the guy, you know, that is just Braid and
The Witness.
The Witness really knows puzzles and really knows how to focus on layering puzzles. You can see it in this trailer. It is a giant world. Okay. So, but you don't get that right away. The way the game is set up is this. You have a very tiny little map, and it's surrounded by a fog of war. And you have these individual puzzle rooms, which you can kind of see in some of the videos here. So you have a puzzle room, and your goal is to, you know, move a rock to get to the other side. Yeah, easy. Well, then the next room is you have to move like 2 rocks, but then depending on how you move these rocks and how you get around, you have to, you know, push them a little bit further and go back around the other way, and then push it from the other side. Kind of the basic puzzles that we all sort of know in video games. Like we've been doing these puzzles forever. But that's just like, it's almost like a weird tease, because then when you finally get into the actual puzzle aspect, it's super interesting. You almost replay these levels again, but now your character isn't somebody who can push stuff. There's someone who can pull things, or there's someone who can teleport to where the rock was, switch places with the rock. Or it's someone who, like in some of these videos, you can push a mirror and teleport through the mirror to the other side, or you can shoot something one way and it appears in the other section, or you grab a crystal and you can put the crystal one place and activate stuff that opens up somewhere else. And all of these are sort of in the same single level, right? And then to top it off, those are like the easy levels. The further you get in this, all these systems start to layer on top of each other. And then you realize something that, wait, that thing I did in that very first level, I can actually do it in a different way, but I have to do it here. And then I have to go. It's just so wild. And so I said to Jonathan Blow, the developer, he was sitting there on the seat next to me. And as I'm playing stuff, I see him pick up his pad and scribble notes. Like he puts a pad down, and I'm doing something. He picked the pad and scribble notes. He did it like 2 or 3 times, and I said, I have two statements for you. One is a question, and one is a comment. He said, all right, go ahead. I said, my question is, are you seeing people like solve puzzles in different ways? He says, yeah. He goes, that's what we do. That's what we have to plan for as developers, is that you guys are going to be, the people that are playing are going to be solving puzzles and figuring things out in different ways. And so I said, so are you, just kind of taking that note? He said, yeah, I'm watching how many times you're backtracking, how many times you're doing this or that. Like Blow is very well known for looking at the tiniest of details in how people actually play his games, because he wants to make sure that every movement is planned for. And where, like, I think my particular issue was I kept going around in circles as I was trying to solve something. Like I'd walk around a room, then I'd walk around again, and then I'd go back the other way and walk around. And it's not that he was getting frustrated watching me, is that he was really intrigued why I was doing that. And so that's the notes that he would scribble down. And then he asked me, he said, he goes, are you finding these difficult? Are you finding them easy? And these are like the easier puzzles, right? And I said, no, not that I'm finding them difficult. It's that I see these puzzle rooms and I'm trying to solve them several times in my head as I'm playing them. Like you'll see something and say, yeah, this is I can do it very easily like this. I can solve it if I arrange the mirrors in a certain way and I'll zip across, done. But I don't want to solve it that way because, and again, this is my issue that I've talked about earlier in this episode, is I'll get caught trying to figure out, but what if I try it like this? Will that create something somewhere else? Will that have a different effect somewhere else? Will that open up something else? And that's sort of like what this game is designed for. It's designed for us to really play and understand the whole system aspect of it, because we're teaching ourselves. Like our biggest judge it wasn't the developer. It wasn't like the PR person who was watching over me. it's not even like the game's not really scoring us. It is, but it's not like our biggest judges are ourselves when we play a game like this, because I'm like, I really want to solve this, but I want to solve it in a different way than I think I need to solve it, because I know that I need to push that rock out of the way, because I've done it in every video game out there. But because I've done it in every video game out there, I have to solve it in a different way. And so I found that very intriguing. I found myself second guessing myself, even though Jonathan Blow was like, "No, you did it you did it the right way. You did it the easiest way. That's how you solve it." I'm like, "Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that's how I should be solving it." He's like, interesting. I'm like, man, I don't know. I really enjoyed that whole aspect of constantly second guessing myself in everything I did in a puzzle game. Again, I'm not like the biggest puzzle game player, like this type of puzzle game. You'll find me playing Sudoku, and you'll find me playing Tents and Trees for hours at a time, right? Picross, that I'm the champ at that. But like, I was really intrigued by this aspect, because it will be the kind of game that, and I asked him straight up, I'm like, how long is this game? He said, and he essentially said, I could see hundreds of hours easily for the fastest players to get through this. Like, I'm guessing like 500 hours someone could pour into this to really figure out the puzzles, and then to really get into the whole deep aspect of this when you do start opening up the rest of the map, and then things start to like collapse in on themselves. I could easily see someone going like, yeah, I put in like 1,200 hours into this game, because it's just so deep with the systems and understanding those systems. So yeah, Order of the Sinking Star. I'm telling you, this is one that's going to be something that it will give me a mental breakdown, and I won't know who I am after playing it, because I'll be angry at myself for solving something too easily. And then I'll go back and say, I got to solve it a different way. But every puzzle I played was really well done. And then I only had 20 minutes. And so after I got to the easy ones, then he's like, let me show you a couple of the more difficult, challenging puzzles. Wow, these were like, they go away from being like a single screen to like scrolling screens and then multiple screens. And it's like, okay, I understand the systems of this, because I learned to move rocks up here, and then I also learned to pull rocks in that same area. But now the wizard can do something else to rocks, so I'm going to need to use the wizard and the strongman and the thief and carry these crystals and do this in all these different aspects of this room. And that was just so freaking cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be in a ward after the end of playing this, because I'm going to be yelling at myself, and that's basically it. So that you can tell that's good design when I'm my biggest critic is myself. And right. Like that. So that's 2 hours. 2 hours of we've chatted. We could go more. We do have more games that talk about. We're going to kind of schedule another one of these, because we played so much stuff, and it was all really good. There are still plenty of embargoes times that gotta lift. There's other things that are happening, so we'll schedule a second round of this. Thank you everybody who joined us. Veerender, thank you again for hopping on. You always seem to be a fan favorite. It's like we get the most viewers when you're on here, because I think everybody else is just so bored with the rest of us is really what it is. You're already seeing like, thank you, crew. Yeah, definitely.
No, thank you very much for letting me on. Thank you very much to Unwinnable for letting me represent them this year as well.
So is it unwinnable.com, right?
Yeah, unwinnable.com. They always do they've been doing games writing and crit writing for so many years. So definitely check them out in general with anything they're doing. They have a subscription as well. So you can get like high quality. If you're always like, I wish we had like more deeper analysis of games or anything, Unwinnable has been there for a very long time. They still keep doing that with their monthly stuff. So definitely check them out. And I'm glad
all cool
I got
folks
to,
over there.
Yeah, awesome folks.
Yes, and you will be joining us for the game shop, friend shop. I always forget what we call it
Friend
on
shop.
the site. Friend shop, when we do N plus infinity times whatever plus plus.
I
And hopefully
can't
Yooka-Laylee
wait.
cart too, for that matter.
Yeah, you'll do Super Yooka-Laylee card. We'll get you on for a few other streams as well, because I think there's definitely some magic that's going to happen there for sure. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to the listeners. I didn't mention the Patreon friends early on. Thank you to all of our awesome Patreon folks. Thank you to Punctified, our executive, who Sam and I bunked with. It was a blast hanging out with them for the few days that we were there.
Hey, congrats on your Xbox.
Yeah, congrats on the Xbox.
Not jealous at all, kids.
Not
Standing with
at all.
arms folded in the corner.
Yeah, thank you to Zero the Prototype. Thank you to Exagenous. Thank you to Jeff Grubb. Thank you to Cricket. Thank you to Stefan, our producers. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you to everybody who joins us in the Discord. Thank you to the folks who just are passerbys in the wind and in the night, just waving from one cart to the next, having their hands hanging out the Uber like they shouldn't be on a Los Angeles evening. We'll see you on the next episode of the Side Quest. You can find Sam and I in the Discord. Veerender, we can find you at Blue Sky. Just search right there for the
very easy.
Very easy. And we'll have your link, obviously, the links in the post. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. We love you. Take care. Have a beautiful, wonderful Friday night. Thank you.